today we will talk about YouTube, YouTubers, and I will answer some questions about YouTube that people often ask me. Hello heroes and villains, welcome to Multiverse. For those of you maybe do not know, I've been making videos on YouTube for about 7 years. My channel is about 10 years old, but the first 3 years I wasn't making videos, but way back when, in order to be able to subscribe to channels or in order to be able to leave comments, you had to create a channel and log in. So even though I created the channel 10 years ago, I've only been making videos for about 7 years. And YouTube did change a whole lot since way back when. Although I've noticed for some time that there seems to be a whole crop of new YouTubers covering DC Universe Online. So if you are a new creator that's been covering DC Universe Online or a new creator that's been making YouTube videos, I will give a few tips a bit later in the video. So if you're a new creator making videos, if you're thinking about becoming a YouTube creator, or even if you're an old timer, you may want to stick around and see some of the tips that I'll give you to make those videos. Although, if you are an aspiring YouTube creator and you did not start your channel just yet, or you did not start making videos just yet, I would suggest to wait a little bit longer. Sadly, one thing that happens, usually I say that for the broker, but it works for YouTube as well. YouTube changes all the time. So sadly, the YouTube today is quite different than the YouTube from yesterday, and in 3 months, 6 months, a year, YouTube will be quite different from today. Content that used to be fun on YouTube 5 years ago, sadly you can no longer put on YouTube. Or some content that is fine to make on YouTube today, sadly in 3 months, 6 months, maybe that content will no longer be suitable. Recently there was a change that made it so that a lot of videos that people had became demonetized, retroactively demonetized. Basically they changed something in the algorithm, and now videos that used to be fine are no longer suitable for monetization. It's sad, but it happens. And sadly, sometimes your videos get demonetized and you do not know why. If you have a short video, you can sort of try to guesstimate. It's easy enough to sort of try to figure it out. But when you have like a 3-hour video, it's kind of hard to try to pinpoint where in the video did you actually cross the line. Sadly, too often there's no indication saying that, okay, at 3 minutes and 53 you said a bad word and that is why your video is being demonetized. For example, I have a video or two that have been demonetized at some point, and it's like in some cases it's a 3-hour video. So trying to guesstimate what part of the video got it demonetized, or it could be simply a mistake, but without knowing why the video was demonetized, there's no way to know is this a mistake or what part should I remove from the video so that it could be monetized. It's a bit different for copyright claim. Usually when you have a video that gets copyright claimed, you do get the information that okay, at 2 minute 53 up to 3 minute 55, that part of the video is copyright claimed. And normally when they claim a small part of your video, it claims the whole thing. And that is why I don't use any popular music. I pretty much use always, most of the time, the same music. Once in a while I'll make a special video, like I made a video with I Need a Hero, but obviously I knew when I made that video that video would be copyright claimed, and it was. And the same with images. Basically at some point I had videos about the Arrowverse, about the Arrow TV show, the Flash TV show, about a few direct-to-DVD movies, and sadly because I had images from those TV shows or from those movies in my video, those videos were copyright claimed. So sometimes people wonder why I don't put images. Like for example, if I make a video showing how to create the Flash style from the CW TV show, people would like me to put an image of the Flash from the CW TV show in the video as well. But if I do that, I leave the door open for my video to be copyright claimed. So I cannot really do that, sadly. And also sometimes for extra fun, outside forces other than YouTube will try to influence the content on YouTube. Right now they are trying to pass, or I don't know if it passed or if they're still working to try to pass. There's this bill called the Bill C11, where they're trying to make some changes to YouTube. And basically they're trying to make YouTube answer to the CRTC the same as any broadcast channels. If they do that, I'm not sure how that will affect Canadian YouTubers. Basically, for the CRTC, you need a certain amount of Canadian content. You need a certain amount of Canadian people working on the show. I guess in the case of myself, or maybe even Obsidian Chill, might be too big an issue because we're both Canadian. So 100% of our content is made by Canadian, but it may also mean included Canadian content in the video. For example, I may have to give a Canadian costume to my multiverse character and make sure that for about 20% of the video, my multiverse character is the Canadian multiverse. I've seen some people claim that it would pretty much shut down all the Canadian YouTubers. I've seen other people that want to go as far as to move out of Canada so that they don't get affected by Bill C-11. I did not do a lot of research right now, so I'm not exactly sure what exactly would happen. What happens if the bill passes? What happens if you decide not to follow the directive of the CRTC? Would they shut down your channel? Or would they simply not show your content to Canadian users? We don't know at this point. If it's the latter, like basically, the Canadian users represent roughly 3.4% of my audience. So if I was to lose that audience, I wouldn't be too big a deal. The lion's share of my audience comes from the States. There's like 66% or so of my audience that comes from the States. So if it only means that you cannot have your content being shown in Canada, it wouldn't be too big a deal. But if it literally shuts down Canadian YouTubers, as some people predict, then that would be pretty devastating for any Canadian content creator. Because if you are a small YouTuber and if you need to register with the CRTC, you also need to submit your content to the CRTC for approval. And if you make videos like me, like I make 1, 2, sometimes 3 videos in a single day, if I have to take the time to make that video, send it to the CRTC, have them approve it, and then put them on YouTube, there are videos that are time sensitive. So let's say they give us a new bonus week, and I make a video about it, send it to the CRTC, and then get my video back 2 weeks later with approval. That would literally make the video pointless. So at this point, we don't exactly know what's going to happen or if the bill will even pass. I guess we're going to have to wait and see before we start going into full panic mode. But if you are Canadian and you're considering starting a new YouTube channel, I would wait to see what will happen with Bill C-11 before starting my channel. Or you could start your channel already, but keep in mind that in 3 months, 6 months, all the work you'll put into your channel might go down the drain. So I would wait a little bit if you didn't start just yet. Because sadly it would seem that the Canadian government wants to regulate YouTube, and sadly that could end up hurting a lot of Canadian YouTubers. So if you did not start your channel just yet, I would wait a little bit. A question that often comes back is, Multiverse, why did you start making YouTube videos? It's quite simple. It's because of Jens Anderson. As some of you guys may remember, Jens Anderson used to be the creative director of DC Universe Online, also known as Spittle. Basically, at some point, Spittle on the forums mentioned how they were losing a lot of players in the very first Brainiac mission that people were playing. Basically, people were trying to play that mission. Somehow, there were a few points where they would get stuck, decide that the game wasn't worth it, or maybe decide that the game had a game-breaking bug, and would leave the game and never come back. So I figured that maybe someone should make a tutorial to try to help out new players get through that mission. So that's pretty much how it started. And so I made 1 video, 2 videos, and before you knew it, I had over 3,000 videos. And when I started, a comment I would often get is that people didn't realize that first that the game was still around, and also they didn't realize that there were still people covering the game on YouTube, that there were still people making videos about it on YouTube. Although I still see comments like that today, so I'm not sure how accurate that was way back when, but at the time it's a comment that I would see pretty often. Although I know that way back when, I'm pretty sure way back when there still was a Balkan that was making content. There was Trexlight, and probably some, and Torikumu. So I'm pretty sure those guys were making content already way back when. And I remember at some point some people were telling me that I would be the next Balkan, and turns out that maybe they were right. Although making content month after month after month, year after year after year is, let's say, challenging to say the least, at some point Balkan pretty much stopped making YouTube videos about DC Universe Online. And you can't really blame him. Sometimes life gets in the way. He did try to make a few videos not too long ago, but I'm not sure if he's back to making video full time or if he just made a handful of videos. There's Trexlight. As far as I know, Trexlight is still making videos, but I think he's making videos on Twitch. I don't see as many videos on YouTube from Trex, but I'm pretty sure he's still pretty active on Twitch. I rarely go on Twitch these days, so I'm not exactly certain, but I'm pretty sure Drex is still around. But right now, I would say that the top YouTubers or the more active YouTubers are probably Darkman, Obsidian Chill, IAD Gaming. When it comes to the evil Obsidian Chill, my evil deadly nemesis, we're pretty much polar opposites, I would say. We're pretty much two sides of the same coin, if it makes sense. Obsidian Chill pretty much makes content for people who want to be endgame player, want to be elite players, the best of the best. So he will try to suggest the best loadouts. He will also crunch the numbers to see which loadout does more damage than the other loadout, or which artifact does more damage, or which ally does more damage. So Obsidian Chill will pretty much crunch the numbers. Where I have more of a casual approach on that front. Basically, I will try the power. If the power seems to work well enough, I don't worry too much if it does 3% or 5% more damage than another power. If I find a power that seems to work well enough, I will use it or I will recommend it. And sometimes there's powers that do more than just damage, so I'll take that into consideration as well. It's kind of like the scoreboard. I see a lot of people who need the scoreboard to know who's doing their job within the mission, or who's doing the more damage, or who's doing what. I don't really do that. I've been playing DC Universe Online for over 10 years, over 11 years now at this point, and usually you can pretty much do what I call reading the battlefield. You can look at the battlefield, see what's going on, and you can see like the speed at which the ads are burning. That tells you if the DPSs are doing damage or not. You can see how fast they're burning the boss. You can see also the health bar of the group, and you can tell from that if the healer is actually healing or if the healer is trying to do damage. The same with the controller. If you see the power bars are empty, you can guess that the controller is too busy doing damage and he's not giving power back as he should. And it's a bit the same thing when I test out artifacts or when I test out loadout. I don't crunch the numbers per se. I look at the battlefield, I look at what's happening, and I make a judgment call based on that. So I guess you could say there's Obsidian Chill on one side who crunches the number. There's me on the other side who doesn't really care so much about the number, who's a bit more casual about the whole thing. And there's our friend Darkman who's somewhere in the middle, I would say. So depending on the type of content you like for example, I'll do a lot of content about new costumes, like how to create the Batman costume, or whenever we get a new look in the game, I'll try to show off that look. Obsidian Chill does that sometimes, but not so much. It's something that he seems to be doing once in a while, lately he did show the new Dr. Fate style that we got from the anniversary event, but overall, he doesn't do it all that often. So depending on the kind of content, if you want some more casual content, you can watch the multiverse. If you want some more elite endgame extreme content, then you can watch the evil Obsidian Chill. You decide. Also, lately, someone accused me of copying on the IAD Gaming. I made a video talking about the year 2022. We didn't have a good year for 2022, so I thought it was worth talking about it. It is something that I already did a few years ago. Ideally, it's something I would do every year. Every year, I should do some sort of retrospective of what happened in the past year. Sadly, sometimes, as I mentioned a bit before, sometimes life gets in the way, and I don't do that kind of video every year. But I did make such videos already way back when. So if anything, it's IAD Gaming that copied on me, not me who copied on him. Maybe I should start calling him the evil IAD Gaming. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, I'm just kidding. I don't think IAD copied anything. Retrospective is something that a lot of YouTubers do. If anything, we probably copied that from Jeremy Johns, or from Angry Joe, or from Grace Randolph. Retrospective of the year that just passed is something that a lot of YouTubers do. So I'm not sure why some people thought I had copied IAD Gaming for some reason, but it happens. But I've noticed there were a few new YouTubers that seems to be covering DC Universe Online. Way back when I had my PS4, on PS4 sometimes you can take a look at the trending videos, and most of the time you only saw the top 5 videos, and very often the top 5 videos were multiverse videos. But now I switched to PS5, and the PS5 shows us roughly the top 20 videos. So it allowed me to be able to see that there seems to be a batch of new YouTubers that started covering DC Universe Online, which pretty much inspired this video. If you are a new YouTuber covering DC Universe Online, or if you're planning to cover DC Universe Online, The very first advice I would suggest is don't make the mistake I did. Focus on DC characters. Sadly, I was a bit of a foolish fool. I tried to make videos about not just DC characters, but Marvel characters, Image characters. But even worse, the worst sin I did was that the first videos I started making were about the Wolverine. Basically, I created a Wolverine character, and that's the character I played for my first, I don't know, 20, 30 videos. I knew there was a bit of rivalry, a bit of a conflict between the Marvel fans and the DC fans, but I totally underestimated how bad it was. I would sometimes get comments about how dare you have a Marvel character in a DC game, or Marvel fans were insulted that I would use a Marvel character in a DC game, and sometimes I would even get such comments in the forums. Someone even wrote me a pretty long essay about how I would never get any support from DC Universe Online because I was using Marvel characters. Although MEPS did not seem to have any issues with that, so I'm not sure why some people were bothered by that. But again, I completely underestimated the cleavage there was between the Marvel fans and the DC fans, and I guess we always had such rivalry way back when, but it was more friendly, I would say. But I think the movies really divided the audience quite a lot, and now we have the really hardcore Marvel fans who love the Marvel movies, and the hardcore DC fans who love the DC movies, and there doesn't seem to be as much overlap as there used to be. So if you start covering DC Universe Online, don't do the mistake I did, stick to covering DC characters. You'll notice that I still sometimes make videos about Marvel characters, but it's a once in a while occasion nowadays. The second tip I would suggest is just do it. Don't try to get perfect from the start. I guarantee you, you will make a lot of mistakes. It happens. So just start your channel. Don't worry too much, and you will learn as you make more and more videos. Early on, you will make mistakes, and you will be able to correct those mistakes as you make more and more videos. If I had waited for everything to be perfect, I still wouldn't be making videos. But I would like to think that my videos did improve a bit over time. And I guarantee you that the more videos you make, the better you will be at making videos. Also, use whatever equipment you have to make those videos. If all you have is your phone, make videos using your phone. If all you have is your PS4, make videos using your PS4. And basically that is how I started making those videos. I purchased a brand new PS4. It took me a few months to decide to make videos. Then it took me a few weeks to figure out how to make videos. And there I was making DC Universe Online videos. So use whatever equipment you have at the time. Use the microphone you have at the time. Yes, if you have a bad microphone, it will hurt your videos, but it's better that than not producing any videos. If you don't produce any content, you'll have no channel, and your channel will never grow. Yes, ideally you want to have a good audio, but sometimes you have no choice. You have to power on through, and you have to make the content, even if your equipment is not as good as it should be. For example, there's a few times where I had a microphone that was not so good, or even lately, for quite some times, I'm sure some of you guys noticed, the audio of my videos were not so great because sadly the freaking USB port on my PlayStation 4, when I was plugging in my microphone, it just wouldn't work. So I had to plug my microphone into my PlayStation 4 controller, and that is how I was capturing the audio, which sadly doesn't give a very good result. Also, a comment I would get is that my videos were not in HD. Sadly, a PlayStation 4 does not allow you to create videos in HD. You only create video in SD with PlayStation 4. So sometimes I would get comments from people that you're still you're not doing HD videos. We're not watching your content. And sadly, PlayStation 4 is all I had to be able to make those videos. I could have made videos on PC, but my characters on PC don't have as much gear as my multiverse character on PlayStation. So it wasn't a very good option. And for the PlayStation 5, for way too long, there was just no way to be able to purchase a PS5. And even then, when I did manage to purchase one, I had to bite the bullet and I had to pay way too much money for that PS5. But now, it does fix the audio issue. So now, thanks to the PS5, the audio is much better, the videos are in HD. So now we are fully equipped to conquer YouTube. Oh yeah. Another comment I often see is, where'd you get your ideas for making videos, or aren't you worried of running out of ideas? I've made over 3,000 videos at this point. I can tell you that running out of ideas, not even a concern. And it's a bit unexpected, but the reason for that is you guys. You guys actually make suggestions in the comment section. Sometimes you guys will tell me, hey, can you make a video about this, about that? Can you make a video about the flash ring? Can you make a video about the new Batman costume? So let's assume for 1 second that I run out of ideas. You guys never run out of ideas. So if someday I do not know what video to make, I can take a look at the comment section, see some of you guys asking, making videos about the flash ring, for example, and then I can make a video about that. Also, whenever new content gets added to DC Universe Online, that means new content for the Multiverse channel. For example, on the test server, we just got the new rewards for the anniversary event, so that meant new content to make new videos for the Multiverse YouTube channel. Also, if you've been watching my video for some time, you probably noticed that as time went by, I developed my very own thumbnails. I started like a lot of people. Basically, I would listen to some YouTube guru that would mention do make a thumbnails with lots of bright colors, and I would do that. I did that at first, and it was a mistake. I guess another tip I could give you is don't listen too much to YouTube gurus, even myself, but I'll get back to that in just a minute. Right now, let's talk a bit more about the thumbnails. So basically, at first, I would make a very colorful thumbnails, and then I came to realize that those thumbnails pretty much blended with any other thumbnails on YouTube. Like if you tell everyone make bright colorful thumbnails, and everyone make those bright colorful thumbnails, you don't stand out. So don't blindly follow what the YouTube gurus are saying. Sometimes you have to make distinctions and use your own judgment. So at some point what I decided to do is that one tip that the gurus often say is don't have any white on your thumbnails. The reason for that is quite simple. It's because YouTube, very often the YouTube page will be white, and white on white, they don't believe it works very well. I came to the opposite conclusion. Basically, I decided to put a lot of white in my thumbnails so that the part that is not white actually pops. And I've noticed that when I would see my thumbnails amongst a whole bunch of other thumbnails, and I would realize that, holy crap, my thumbnails would pop compared to every other thumbnails. Now, I'm not telling you to make your thumbnails white. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is find something that will make you distinctive from everyone else's. Maybe for you, green would make you distinctive. Maybe you'll notice if you'll take a look at all the thumbnails on YouTube. Maybe you'll notice that there's not a lot of thumbnails with green in it. So maybe green would be the solution for you. Maybe purple would be the solution for you. So find something that will make you distinctive from everyone else's. If you're wondering, basically I got the idea from Dragon Age. Way back when, the Dragon Age box was white with the shape of a dragon, like a red shape of a dragon, but there was also another picture inside the shape of the dragon. So that's where I got the idea from. I remember that that box being pretty distinctive amongst all the other boxes on the shelves. So I kept my thumbnail white with the Superman shaped, the shape of the Superman emblem in the thumbnails, and within the shape of that emblem, I would have an image of my character or an image related to whatever the video was about. And I tried a different font. Also, I tried to have the font on the right and the image on the left. Then at some point I switched that. I had the image on the right and the font on the left. I added DC Universe Online on the thumbnails. So a lot of trial and error went into coming up with the thumbnail that you're seeing right now. So basically nowadays I have the image to the left, I have the Multiverse logo in the corner, the DC Universe logo in the corner. Also there's a bit of overlap for the DC Universe logo so that it pops a little bit more. It kind of gives it a bit of a 3D effect sort of. The same for the Venom overlapping on the image. Ideally I will try to have as little words on the thumbnails as possible. Or if I have a whole bunch of words, I'll try to have at least one word that is bigger and bolder than everything else. And usually I will use red as a color, but once in a while I might decide to try a new color. Like in this case, to be in the theme of Venom, I could have decided to put Venom in green, but somehow I left it red instead. A recent example would probably be my latest Black Adam video, where I did change my usual pattern to have the Black Adam black and yellow as opposed to black and red. So sometimes I will experiment a bit. Like for example, at some point I made a couple of videos with my Batman character where I would play certain missions without any skill points, any artifacts, and I remember this image from Batman Year 1, so I thought it would be a fun opportunity to be able to make something different for the thumbnails. Or you can see how I tweaked my template a little bit for my how Batman Hush should have ended. I guess this brings me also to don't be afraid to try something different. Sadly, don't be too disappointed because when you try something different, sometimes the evil YouTube will not want to share that video. Sadly, sometimes when you try to make something different, YouTube doesn't seem to like it, and YouTube will not share it with other people. It could be also that usually I make videos about DC Universe Online, obviously, but it could be that when I make something different than DC Universe Online, maybe people don't like that too much. I guess that could be possible. Although in some cases, it is pretty clear that sometimes YouTube really goes out of its ways not to share certain videos. It's sad, but it happens. And let's talk about the YouTube gurus a bit. Odds are, if you're trying to make videos on YouTube, you probably did take a look at some YouTube gurus to try to get the tips and tricks on how to make YouTube videos. Heck, this very video is pretty much that. Again, I would say don't blindly follow what the gurus are telling you. Not even me. You have to make distinction. You have to think it through, and you have to decide if the suggestion is actually good for your channel or not. If it actually applies to your channel, or maybe it doesn't apply to your channel. One mistake that I did, at some point some YouTube guru suggested that there should be a pattern in how you name your videos. So at some point I decided to have all my videos start with DCUO, so DCUO Batman style, DCUO Black Adam style, DCUO Anniversary Event. And there was this tool in YouTube where you could retroactively add, let's say, DCUO at the start of all your videos. And so I decided to do just that. And that was a big mistake. Basically, the stats, my YouTube stats, when I looked at my analytics, all my stats crashed. For example, I think at the time I had my click-through rate was something around the line of 22%, and it crashed to like 1.2%. And I didn't know it at the time. 22%, that was freaking high. And but I didn't understand some of those stats at the time, so I never understood. I never realized that that was a pretty good stat. So my stats, my click-through rate crashed to like 1.2%, and basically it gave YouTube a heart attack. The YouTube algorithm didn't like me changing all my videos. Didn't know what to do with all those changes, and pretty much everything crashed on my YouTube channel. I was able to rebuild some of my stats, but never to the extent of what it was before. Like for the click-through rate, so it crashed literally to like 1.2%. I was able to bring it back to 7.7%, and now it hovers between 7 and 6%. And the advice itself wasn't a bad advice. Having a common theme in how your videos are named is not a bad idea. It's actually a good idea. The bad idea was to rename all my videos all at once. That was the bad idea. Now I realize that what I probably should have done is that only start naming my videos DCUO something from that point forward, and maybe once in a while go back and rename maybe 10, 20 videos until I would rename all my videos like that. Renaming all my videos all at once, that was a huge mistake, and it did hurt the channel a bit, at least for a while. So sadly, there's a few mistakes like that did hurt the growth of the channel, but what can you do? When that happens, you roll your sleeves, you work a bit harder, and you try to get back on the horse. But again, if a YouTube guru says, like for example for the thumbnails, if a YouTube guru tells you use bright colors for your thumbnails, again, make a distinction. Think it through and ask yourself, is it really the best advice for in your case? Maybe in your case, maybe black thumbnails would be perfect for you. Maybe just a black thumbnail with some white font. Maybe you're making videos about Vampire the Masquerade, so black thumbnails with a red font is actually what would be suitable for your channel. So you have to make distinctions on what works for your channel, no matter what the YouTube gurus are saying. When a YouTube guru gives you an advice, it's usually a broad advice that could apply to a whole bunch of people, but it may not apply specifically to you. So again, you have to be able to make distinctions, and you have to be able to decide for yourself, do I follow that advice or not? Is it a good advice for me, or is it a bad advice for me? And sometimes, sadly, there's no way to know until you actually try it out. So sometimes you try the advice and realize that it was a bad idea. Sadly, one way to learn is through trial and errors, and sometimes you have to make quite a few errors before you actually know what you're doing. Better that you make those errors early on when your channel is small and you only have a handful of videos than making a huge mistake when you have hundreds of videos on your channel. And I guess another tip would be about the production process. You have to put together a production process that is sustainable. Basically, on YouTube, the more videos you publish, the more your channel will grow. It's quite that simple. Let's assume for 1 second that whenever you publish a new video, you gain 3 new subscribers. So if you publish one video a week, you will gain 3 subscribers per week. If you publish one video a month, you will gain 3 subscribers a month. If you make one video a day, you will gain 3 subscribers per day. So the amount of videos you produce will dictate how fast your channel will grow or not. I know that there's some channels that produced a handful of videos and that blew up, that now have millions of subscribers, but that's like winning the lottery. Like how it should have ended. I have millions of subscribers. At this point, they produce like 3 videos a year, but sadly, that is the exception. That is a very rare exception. For most people, the more you produce content, the faster your channel will grow. It's sad, but that's how it is. So if it takes you 3 months to produce one video, you're going to be able to release one video every 3 months. And yes, if you're very lucky, it could go viral and you could become a billionaire. Sadly, in most cases, that's not how it works. There are YouTubers who manage to make it, but they have to make videos every week, sometimes videos every day. Heck, there's some YouTubers that will make 3, 4, 6 videos a day in order to be able to grow their channel. But again, if it takes you a week to produce a video, that just won't be possible. So if it takes you a week to produce a video, that means that at most you can publish one video a week. You have to come up with a production process that is sustainable. Also, if it takes you a week to produce a video, but you have to work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, that is not sustainable. Yeah, you can do that for a week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, but eventually you're not going to be able to sustain that. So you have to come up with a production process that will allow you to create content consistently and that will allow you to create more than one video a week. Ideally, if you could create one video a day, even better. But depending on the type of content you create, that might not be possible. Also, in the case of gaming content, like DCUO Online, there's a few extra steps to the process other than just making the videos. Basically, you have to play the game to be able to gather the style. Let's say you decide to make videos about the styles in DCUO Online. Well, you have to be able to gather those styles. In some cases, some styles are easy enough to get, but there are some styles that are very challenging to get, especially, let's say, the styles from Time Capsule. So there are styles that you can get quickly enough, but there are styles that will take you weeks and weeks and weeks of gameplay in order to be able to get those styles. So making gaming content is quite challenging in some ways. Because it is challenging in the sense that you have to be able to record your video, record the audio, then do the editing of your video. But long before you even do any of that, you have to play the game. If you want to be able to play to make end game content, well, you have to play the game enough so that you are at end game level, so that your artifacts are at rank 200, so that your allies are at rank 10. So that means you have to play the game a lot before you start filming a single frame in order to make your videos. Also, creating your content means so you have to play the game quite a lot in order to be able to get everything you need to make your videos. Then you have to record your gameplay. Then you have to do your editing, maybe add some audio if you need to. But that is only part of the production process. Then you have to upload your video on YouTube, and if you have a slow internet connection, it may take a while. I strongly suggest, if you can, invest in a high-speed internet connection, because holy crap, waiting hours and hours for your video to upload, not a fun thing. Also, one more step in the process is to make your thumbnails. We spoke a bit about the thumbnail, so you have to take at least a bit of time in order to be able to make your thumbnail. You could decide not to create a thumbnail for your video, but I strongly suggest having a thumbnail. I tried not to make thumbnails for a bit as an experiment, and I could tell that my analytics numbers did take a bit of a hit. So I would strongly suggest have a thumbnail to your video. Take the time to make a nice thumbnail for your video, and again, make it distinctive. And another part of the production process that I have to admit never occurred to me when I started making videos is the comments. People will leave comments in the comment section of your videos. So I would strongly suggest answer those comments, reply to those comments. I understand that after a while it may become a bit challenging, but early on when you get only a few comments, it should be easy enough to be able to reply to almost everyone. Obviously, as time goes by and you get to more and more comments, it becomes a bit more difficult to try to reply to everyone, especially also the way that the YouTube analytics work, or the YouTube comments work. Sometimes you'll see the first comment that someone made, and then you reply to that comment, and then the comment disappears. And then if someone replies to that comment or replies to your comment, you don't actually see it unless you actually go see that comment specifically. So the way the comments work right now with YouTube, if you get a lot of comments, it's very easy to miss out on the comment and not reply to it. But ideally, try to reply to as many comments as you can. And basically, that's what I try to do. When I don't reply to your comment, it's quite simply because I did not see your comment. Once in a while, maybe I do not know how to reply to your comment, but as a rule of thumb, if you leave a comment and I don't reply to you, it's because I wasn't able to find it amongst all the comments that I get on YouTube. So in short, try to come up with a production process that is sustainable, that you will be able to do week after week after week, that will allow you to produce more than one video a week. And keep in mind all the steps you need, like you need to play the game, to gather everything you need to make your video, then you need to capture your gameplay, record the audio, edit the video, make the thumbnails, reply to the comments. So you have to take into account all the production steps involved in making YouTube videos. I did not address things like membership because at this point I'm not sure exactly how that works because I'm not using it just yet. But it's something also that you might want to consider in your production process. Like if you decide to have a membership program, if you decide to create content specifically for members, it is something that you have to take into account in your production process. Sorry about the long video. When it comes to making videos on YouTube, there's a lot to mention and a lot to talk about. So we did end up with a pretty long video. I should probably make a series about how to make videos on YouTube, or maybe I could be more specific, how to make DC Universe Online videos on YouTube. If you guys would like to see more content like that, let me know in the comment section down below. If enough of you guys ask for it, I might decide maybe to make a series about YouTube. It could be something I could do, like one video a week or something like that. And I could probably make videos where I would go into more details. Like for example, I could make a video specifically about the production process and go into more details. Or I could talk also about some of the software you need. Like I did not even talk about like on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5 now, I use Share Factory to edit my videos. But when I make videos on PC, like right now, I use Windows Movie Maker. So depending on how you make your videos, there's still a lot we could talk about. So if you guys want to know more about how to make YouTube videos, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see if maybe I can make a video series about how to make videos for the evil YouTube.